This is 17 News with continuing coronavirus coverage.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Nicole Kitsky. Well, Governor Gavin Newsom is streaming live every day at noon to give an update on the coronavirus crisis in our state. Today, he is providing an update on the state's response to COVID-19. We will bring you to him as soon as he becomes available. He's available right now. Let's take it over and let's take a listen in.
We have some new mobility data we wanted to share with you, and we wanted to also update you on the status of our modeling around the next few weeks and what we are anticipating based upon the good work that's been done by millions of Californians to help bend the curve and what that modeling foretells in terms of the future and how we continue to navigate in the short term and some of the strategies and thinking in the medium and long term. I'll start by asking Dr. Galley to come up, who will share some of this open-sourced mobility data that we have been receiving on a daily basis that really tracks in a very private way the aggregated data around movement throughout the state of California. It really gives us a good sense of how effective our stay-at-home order has been and how extraordinarily impactful all of you have been in terms of your practicing physical distancing. And you'll see from that mobility data, as he shares it with you, county by county, how that's impacting our larger trend lines and how it's impacting our modeling in very, very positive ways. It's also going to be a cautionary tale because if we pull back from that effort, you can see numbers that will change radically and quickly. And so I want to just caution everybody through this presentation to consider, again, the success of your actions to date and the imperative to maintain that status and continue to stay the course. Skilled nursing facilities continue to be a top priority of our efforts. In fact, some of the first guidance we put out as a state focused on changing the visitation, focusing on making sure that we weren't just monitoring passively the regulatory system that currently supports our skilled nursing facilities up and down the state, but we were providing more technical assistance and technical support to make sure that we keep our patients safe. Let me give you a perspective of what I mean by that. We have 1,224 skilled nursing facilities in the state of California. 1,224, what others refer to as nursing homes.
You just heard the latest from Governor Gavin Newsom providing an update to the state's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, he did mention that right now what we are seeing is if we maintain what we are doing, we will continue to see positive results. More and more people are staying at home, and that shows from county to county across California. Also, they wanted to show that the peak, it also may be less higher. It may be less than what we expected. And also, we might expect that in the next coming weeks. So a little further down than what we expected. Now, you can continue watching what Governor Newsom has to say on a live stream on our Facebook page. In the meantime, the numbers continue to rise for coronavirus cases here in Kern County. 3 new cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed. A total of 340 people have now tested positive for the novel coronavirus in Kern. That's including 7 non-residents. More than 3,000 people have tested negative, but another big jump in pending tests. More than 2,400 people are still waiting for their results. That's the most we've seen since testing started. More than 6,000 people have been tested in Kern County so far, and 3 people have died. Well, according to Public Health, 38 of those positive cases has been hospitalized at some point during their illness. So far, 113 people have met CDC guidelines and are no longer infectious. Now, let's take a look at how these cases break down by age. More than half of the positive tests, 181, are people between the ages of 18 and 49. Meantime, 15 children have tested positive. 93 cases are between the ages of 50 to 64, and 44 are ages 65 and older. And here's a look at where those cases fall within the county. It shows where the patients live, not necessarily where they caught the virus. 47 in the Valley region, 129 in the region known as West Bakersfield. Right now, the area known as East Bakersfield has 137 cases, 10 cases confirmed in the mountain areas and 10 in the desert areas. One of the deputies is back to work while the other 10 are in self-isolation. Plus, 5 inmates at the Kern County Jail have also tested positive. Sheriff Donny Youngblood made the announcement in a video message today. He said he's been in conference calls with President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence this week, where the president thanked officers on the front lines. Well, stay with us. We're back right after this.
Well, we had a lot of rain this week, and we're finally seeing it come to an end. 2 records broken: April 7th with .91, April 8th with .62. Our April all-time rain record, 2.99, and that was set back in 1915, and we're just shy of a half an inch of that. So we'll see what happens the rest of the month. Right now, we've got some sun, we've got some clouds out there, and Bakersfield now checking in with 60 degrees. A calm wind out there. We're only expecting a light breeze as we go throughout the day. As we take a look at other temperatures, our almanac showing 48 overnight, right where we should be this time of year. Now, we're going to be shy of our normal, which is 73, and look at the record, 95, set back in 1989. Here's a look at other temperatures right now: 58 in Taft. We've got 48 in Tehachapi, 49 up into Ridgecrest right now. And we take a look at the satellite and radar, and we've got the clouds, but look at the moisture. It has come to an end, and that's because the area of low pressure we've been tracking is now well to the south of us. So we're seeing some showers out near San Diego. But for us, just some clouds the rest of the day. And then by tomorrow, we'll clear out, and we're looking at some warmer temperatures as well. 63 in Sacramento today, 68 in Fresno, and 60s down to the south. And here's a look at the big picture. And that area of low pressure that we've been seeing for days, just meandering and bringing lots of rain, is now moving out, and high pressure replaces it, and that will help to clear us out and also warm us up. 67 degrees today in Bakersfield, 69 in Delano, 65 in Taft. As we take a look at the mountains and the Kern River Valley today, we're looking at some pretty nice weather by the late afternoon. We'll start to see, I think, the clouds thin out. 49 in Fraser Park, 58 in Tehachapi, 60s for the Kern River Valley. But again, snow level is rising as we speak. It'll be by about 6,000 feet later on this afternoon. And for the desert, 57 in Mojave, 63 in Ridgecrest. And we take a look at the extended forecast. We are going to see some clearing skies. 72 on Saturday, mid-70s for you as we head into the weekend. And next week, look at that. Temperatures will be right near 80 degrees by Wednesday and Thursday. Here's a look at the mountain forecast, and also clearing skies. 58 on Saturday, 63 for your Easter. Right near 70 by next week on Wednesday and Thursday. And then for the Kern River Valley tomorrow, 65 and sunny. Easter, a high of 70. And then next week, a few clouds, but other than that, staying dry and expecting the mid-70s. So after all the rain that we saw, the ground is finally going to start to dry up a little bit. And one thing to note here, I know I'm one of them, I turned my sprinkler system off. With as much rain as we've seen the last few days, every sprinkler in the valley should be off, conserving water. You can go for a few weeks without even the sprinklers being turned on because of the excess amount of water we have in the ground. So keep that in mind, and overall, enjoy your weekend, and I hope you all have a great Easter. We'll be right back.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Back now in your 17 Business Watch, dozens of economists say there is no need to worry about an upcoming recession. They think it's already here. 45 economists said in a survey that the U.S. is already in a recession, and they believe we will stay in one for the first half of the year. The survey was done by the National Association of Business Economics. It points to the coronavirus pandemic as the problem, of course, and predicts a spike in unemployment, a decline in spending, and a dip in the growth rate. Still, economists are optimistic that the economy will bounce back in the second half of the year, but they point out that it may need assistance from a federal stimulus package. And the coronavirus has apparently made more people interested in buying electronic vehicles. That's according to a survey done by a company in the United Kingdom. Vention Automobile Solutions says it asked a group of people in the UK about their post-pandemic buying plans. The fleet management company alluded that there was a connection between travel restrictions because of the coronavirus and improvements in air pollution. They noted that 45% of people then said such improvements would make them reconsider buying an electric vehicle. At the same time, meantime, 17% they've already decided that their next vehicle would be electric. Well, Costco is now allowing healthcare workers and first responders to cut in line. Costco says because of their integral role of fighting the coronavirus, healthcare workers, police officers, firefighters, EMTs, and other first responders will be given priority access. All they have to do is present a membership card as well as their employee ID badge to receive priority access. Well, over 6 million people have filed for unemployment in the past 3 months, hitting record highs. So what does that mean for the economy? That story next. Yesterday, it was announced that another 6.6 million Americans filed for unemployment benefits last week. The actual number of unemployed could be higher since many applicants had trouble filing a claim as state labor departments became overwhelmed. David Anderson, the managing partner and financial advisor at MoneyWise Guys, explains what this means for the economy future.
Well, it means that there's more pain ahead. You know, you mentioned this 16 million jobs that have been lost over just the past 3 weeks. Let me put that in perspective for you. So if we go back to February of 2010 and go all the way to February of 2020, during that time, you know, the greatest expansion ever, the longest expansion ever, we created 24 million jobs. We've lost 16 million in 3 weeks. So it gives you an idea on how severe the economic slowdown has been.
What would you say the state of our economy is? Is it good or bad?
Well, I think we're in a recession.
You think we are in a recession?
Recessions, you don't know you're in them until after, because you have to see at least 6 months of contraction, and we're not there yet. But I think most economists are already saying, hey, we're in a recession. So I don't think next week it's going to look any better when we get the unemployment numbers. We're going to see even more people have applied for unemployment. So we're in for a time that there's going to be some economic pain. Absolutely.
Okay, I hate to use this word, but are we going to be in a depression?
You know, this is what the Fed is really fighting. The Fed is not implementing all of this stimulus to keep us from a recession. It's to keep us from going into a depression. Now, I think what has been done so far has helped. Certainly, it's certainly helped the stock market. We'll see if they'll be able to implement all this stuff. We'll see when people actually start getting their stimulus checks, how it impacts the economy. But I'm hopeful that we will be able to right the ship.
Okay, there's going to be two groups of people here. You know, everyone that meets the threshold for to get a stimulus check. There's, regardless if you're unemployed or if you are employed, you're going to get that money if you meet that threshold. What is your advice to people on both sides of the spectrum, for people who are unemployed and are relying on that money, and people who may still be getting a paycheck, may still be working, but they're still going to get that check? What is your advice for both of those groups?
Yeah, so for the people that are unemployed, I would say, you know, you're going to want to start filling out applications, whether that's for unemployment. If you didn't do your taxes, make sure you've done your taxes so you can receive your stimulus check. And during this time, because the system is just overwhelmed with people applying, just tell yourself it's going to take a little while. Your job now is accessing benefits. So learn all you can and do all you can there. Now, if you still have a job, you're going to want to be preparing for, one, cash. Make sure you have cash on hand. And when I say cash on hand, I don't necessarily mean that cash in your house. It can be in the bank.
Right.
But the reason you want to have that is if something is disrupted with your job, you want to be able to access some of that money. Now, for both of these groups, if you have money invested in the stock market and you're not going to need it for a while, I wouldn't really worry about it. If you feel like, you know what, I might have to access this money because I've lost my job, at that point, you might want to trim back some risk substantially.
Do you think that more people could lose their job as we progress over the next several weeks? Do you think that, you know, they say about 10% of the labor force is out of a job right now, which is, that is a huge number. Do you think we're going to continue to see that go upward?
Yeah, I think we will, especially because a lot of these programs in the CARES Act, like the PPP loan, for example, well, banks are just being overwhelmed with applications. So if we could get that money into the system and businesses could get this money to keep people on payroll, I think things could get better. But we're not yet seeing the implementation of these programs because they're just so overwhelmed with the sheer number of businesses and people that need to access these funds. So I think time will tell.
Well, a car crashes into a tree, leaving 2 people seriously hurt. This happened around southbound Highway 99. According to California Highway Patrol, around 6:30 this morning, the vehicle was traveling about 65 miles per hour when it struck a tree just south of the Hoskins Avenue exit. The 2 people in the vehicle both sustained major injuries. CHP is investigating what led up to the crash. Well, a shooting in East Bakersfield overnight leaves 1 with injuries. This all happened at the 1100 block of King Street near East California Avenue. Bakersfield police got a shot spotter activation alert in the area just before 9:30 last night. Officers found a man suffering from at least 1 gunshot wound at the scene. The person was taken to the hospital with minor to moderate injuries. BPD is looking for that suspect. And police are searching for a suspect accused of an assault in downtown Bakersfield. They say the man got into a fight with someone at the KGET bus terminal on Chester Avenue back on March 2nd. Police say at one point the suspect kicked the victim in the head several times when he was on the ground. Officers are searching for a Hispanic man in his 20s with black hair, a goatee, and a tattoo on his left forearm. If you see him, you are asked to contact BPD at 327-7111. Well, this morning, local healthcare workers received more of the critical personnel protection equipment that is so desperately needed. It's all thanks to a national heritage group. Hong Kongers for U.S. is a group of Americans with Hong Kong heritage that has been raising funds to donate surgical masks to medical workers. This morning, they off 2,000 masks at both Adventist and Memorial hospitals. A representative tells us they've given away masks to other hard-hit areas like New York and New Jersey. And over at a local furniture, they're giving away free masks as well. Furniture City on Weeble Street started handing out surgical masks per person at 10 o'clock this morning. They said everyone who comes to their store will get a free mask while supplies last. Well, there are endless challenges that stem from the COVID-19 crisis, but for those suffering from addiction, staying sober may be the top of their list. 17's Taylor Schaub has that story.
Good morning. Dependency on drugs or alcohol is already a difficult battle in itself, but experts say with so many stuck in isolation, they may see a surge in relapses for those recovering.
35 years and about 5 months.
Scott Hume considers himself a survivor of the dreaded disease known as addiction, earning his first medallion at the age of 16.
I've been in the program and recovery field for almost 35 years now.
Now, as the president of Aspire Counseling Services, he's dedicated his life to helping others defeat their dependence.
They say that an addict in their own company, in their own mind, is not a really good idea.
But his drive to get Kern County addicts on the road to recovery has hit a snag, as those working to defeat a disease rooted in isolation are required to isolate.
Stress and anxiety tends to be, and resentments tend to be, some of our biggest offenders.
Here in Kern, COVID-19 has shut down all in-person 12-step programs, causing a surge in those recovering to relapse.
We've definitely had some more clients relapse than normal. I definitely want to say it's a problem.
But recovery programs like Aspire are not giving up. Instead, they're taking their meetings online, creating a safe space for patients to talk virtually.
Our clients are able to log into a special app, and with that app, they can connect with their counselors via the internet, virtually anytime, any day.
The center even continuing group meetings, giving these recovering addicts a way to engage, even while self-isolating. And if you or someone you know is suffering from addiction at this time, call the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services hotline. That number is 1-800-662-HELP. In Southwest Bakersfield, Taylor Schaub, 17 News.
And a big birthday today, Dolores Huerta, the iconic social activist, is 90 today and laying low at her daughter's house in Bakersfield, waiting out the COVID-19 crisis. The social activist is celebrating the day by rolling out Dolores Huerta Day Education Curriculum, a set of lessons on civic activism created for each grade level that meets state standards. She's having a virtual party on Saturday, May 30th, a 2-hour-long celebration with celebrity guests to be named later, so you still have time to pick up a card. Well, the May 30th event will also officially kick off the capital campaign for the $20 million Dolores Huerta Peace and Justice Cultural Center. 17 News' Robert Price will have more on Huerta's legacy tonight.
This is 17 News with continuing coronavirus coverage.